called, and this is going to be titled, This is How the Caucasian Man Trapped Us into a False Reality. Okay, it says the white man, I put this in my notes. It says the white man, when he kidnapped us from our ancestral home, learned our language. First, every move we make, every thought filled with ideas, everything we know. They try to mimic and copy off of us so they can take our knowledge and they can turn it against us. They were native Indians on America that had at first, when they saw the white man, they treated him as if he was a foreigner, alien, or stranger, but soon began to co-promise with the white man and started to use their intelligence system to oppose friendship. According to NSP.gov, there were here 23,000 to 30,000 years ago. They're learning us, getting us to kill one another. The worst part about this is uh, that they experiment with animals before they could touch us. The cells represents the bondage. The Statue of Liberty represents seeking of knowledge. Re- the money symbolizes represents temple of God, kingdom. The eye of the pyramid represents them watching us. Somewhere along that narrative, the Caucasian man thinks he has more power because he knows, but real man knows that they have no power because it's always something that's unknown. See, funny thing is that the people in Noah's time that were rulers knew that there were going to be a flood, and he knew that they could not help or nor prevent the flood from arising. Okay, and it says, now they have released us from the oppression form of beating and knocking us out. The crazy thing is, the crazy thing is beating is not enough, that's not enough. They have to extract our hair, our roots. They have to bond us with civilization that doesn't make sense. This is all rooted in the false nation of America. They took certain celebrities, making them famously rich, so they won't speak for their birth nation because whatever happened towards their childhood has been destroyed. Now they can't look back at their past. But the plus side is they'll die with wealth, right? See, one of the pages I watch is Mr. Freeman. He is so quoted at exposing the lies that are hidden right in front of our faces. To end of this conversation, I hope the person on the other side of the screen is truly understanding the values of the things I'm saying. Everything is connected towards life and death, so please do not be fooled by the enemy. He likes to throw different techniques up to switch up his escape method when he knows that he has been caught. I'm telling you this because all your religions are false narratives. You believe in Christ, why celebrate Valentine's? You believe in Allah, why celebrate Eid or Iftar? The ads are controlling your spending habits, but that's why they're made. These religious groups to control you. Everything is set up. Once you fall for a false religion, then you fall for a false God. Okay, so I'm going to start to explain that in depth so everybody can understand it. The first part is the white man kidnapped us and how we kidnapped. So we all know that our ancestors came from Africa and they came from Europe and they came from Asia, and this was a big continent, okay? Long time ago, and if you search up the map, a long time ago, that all the continents were actually into one big continent. So we were just one big continent, and we had like some separate islands, of course. And I believe this was called the Asiatic. I don't know if it was called the Asiatic, but I believe it was called the Asiatic Island, okay, or the Asiatic land. And that's where everybody had their own nation. Everybody had, just different tribes and communities, but everybody believed in almost the same thing. And I think this was the golden ages because they had a lot of silver and bronze, and they had a lot of money. They had a lot of wealth. So what they did was they had kicked out the Indians because the Indians were making mischief along the land, okay? The Indians were causing bloodshed. They were doing things with different gods. They were worshiping idols and statues and symbolizing things that wasn't righteous or didn't mean a lot of good or a lot of co-promises to the other people that was there, okay? And of course, we were all in different races. So it was Latinos, Hispanics, it was blacks, it was all types of culture from around the world, okay? So it was Japanese, Chinese, all types of this. So when they start separating, then the other people start separating. Okay, so that's when everything got separated as far as between us. It all started back a long time ago when our ancestors were here. But I'm gonna pull up the timeline in the next video so you can actually understand the timeline and give you a pictures of what the earth used to look like. But it all used to have one big continent, and we had one big land, the Asiatic land. Okay, so the white man, he kidnapped us from our ancestral home, okay, learned our languages. So when he was kicked out of the ancestral home, okay, he was kicked out from that land. He had to understand that he was never going to get back. So to either to live by himself or to cope with himself or to live on this land, he had to see what we were doing so he can do the exact same things, or so he can do it better, or so he can do it that he would succeed at whatever he was doing at. Okay, so he didn't have survival techniques. Okay, these are the same people that were mammals, that were literally walking on fours. Okay, literally hunching their back over to stand. Okay, literally eating whatever they pick up, whatever substance that they pick up from the garden or from the fruits or from whatever. They were literally eating off of the ground, okay? This is the Caucasian man. We had taught the Caucasian man, or I should say, Moses had taught the Caucasian man how to stand up properly, how to defend for himself, how to do all these different things because they were not civilized, okay? They were animals that they so-called call us. They were animals, and of course, I'm going to bring this proof back, and I'm going to have all the proof and actual factual evidence for y'all, okay? But they were animals. They were the people that was uncivilized, unculturalized, okay? Alright, so now I'm going to go back to it. It says, our languages, every move we make, every thought was filled with ideas. Everything we know, they try to mimic and copy off of us so they could take our knowledge and turn it against us. There were first Native Indians in America that at first when they saw the white man, they treated him as if he was a foreigner, alien, or stranger, but soon began to co-promise with the white man and started to use their intelligence system to oppose friendship. So how they oppose friendship, of course, you just offer them something, or you would just negotiate with them, or you would just act like you're something that you're not. So it's like just it's a wolf in sheep's clothing. And the reason why I say that is because they had nothing to offer them. Like again, they couldn't do nothing for themselves, okay? So when they were, in Europe and they had all the diseases to themselves, all the bad things that they were doing to themselves because they was kicked out first, okay? The Caucasian man was kicked out of the Asiatic land first, okay? So I want you to picture that in your head. The Asiatic land all the way over here and the Caucasian man is all the way over here. They were kicked out because of the fact that they loved to do the things that served them no purpose. It didn't serve them no purpose at all. Okay, so killing one another, deceiving one another, lying to one another, stealing, robbery, all that, it served no purpose. So we kicked them out first, okay? That's what our ancestors did, okay? And now they were trying to co-promise with the native Indians and saying, okay, well, we're getting kicked out, but what you gonna teach us, or can you teach us something, or can you make us learn survival techniques and tactics so we can actually survive for ourselves? So they taught them that. They taught them how to fish, they taught them how to hunt, they taught them how to do different things because they were in need of that. They were in need of actual support and actual saving, okay? And but then they were like, okay, so this is the part where I want y'all to understand, because this is the part where we're at. We're at the part where where they are actually learning how to get closer to us. So they were learning how to get closer towards us from the Indians, okay? The Indians was the people that are our kind, okay? They are black, but they are in a different tribe. They are in a different community. They are in a different commute, okay? So that don't mean that they're not black. That don't mean that they're not, people of our religion or our race, right? That just means that they are the people that are different color, but they are still in the same race as we are, okay? Same ethnicity that we are in, okay? And they learned all of this from the Indians, okay? So everything that they know and everything that they were doing to the Indians, they are currently doing to us now. How did they capture us? Okay, now we're going to get how did they capture us, okay? So it says they're native Indians. They were native Indians on America that at first when they saw the white man, they treated him as if he was a foreigner, alien, or stranger, but soon began to co-promise with the white man and started to use intelligence to propose friendship. According to NSP.gov, they were here to 23,000 to 30,000 years ago. They are learning us, getting us to kill one another. The worst part about this is they've experimented with animals before they can touch us. So yes, why they had guns and rifles and all these different things with the bullets, right? They were experimenting with the animals first because of course they use those weapons so they can kill, so they can hunt, so they can use these for clothing, use these for shoes, use things for survival techniques, right? Use things for living thing purpose. They made it into a purpose where you can now kill people. Okay, now you can now kill children, you can now kill babies because that's what they were doing. That's exactly why they got kicked out of the Asiatic land because they were doing this against people. Okay, people in religion, people in culture, people in race, all different people. That's why they got kicked out. Okay. Okay, so now somewhere along that narrative, the Caucasian man thinks he has more power because he knows the real man. Well, know that don't have no power because there is always something that's unknown. Okay, so see, the funny thing is that people in Noah's time, they were rulers, knew that there were going to be a flood, and he knew that they cannot help prevent it from arising. Okay, now they have released us from the oppression, from beating us, knocking us out. See, all of this is condemned. All of this is buying, right? Okay, so what they used to do back all the way back in our ancestral times, they're still doing it now. So that means what the America looks like, because this is all to explain what the America is looking like and what the America is looking like for the next future, right? They're just going to be killing more and more people so they can get us off of this continent. They want this continent to themselves. They want this world to themselves. They want these people, all these people of different religion, all these people of different race, all these people of different culture. It's cool. Like, okay, you're cool for right now. But in the future, in a few more years, in a few more, they want this continent, they want this whole freaking planet towards themselves. Because now they feel like they have took enough information from the Japanese, they took enough information from the Indians, they took enough information from the Hispanics, they took enough information from the all these different people and all these different cults around the world. So now they're thinking that they can control it because they have the resources and they have the knowledge to actually provide for themselves in another decade, in centuries, in decades to go by, and all these different things. So they think that they are now involved, they are now improved, they are now better. So now we're going to test this theory, right? We're going to use it against you. Okay, do you know your word more than we do? Okay, do you know yourself more than we do? Okay, do you know the systems and the laws that you've equated or you put into fruition? Do you know that more than we do? See, they test the theory out. So when they go to China and when they go to Japan, you would think they're just tourists, or you'll just think that there are people that have, there's no harm towards them, right? Or they're not trying to do no harm towards you, right? Okay, you would think that, but they're actually studying you. They're actually studying your every move. They're actually studying how you do things so they can create the America. All of the America was created off of indigenous people. You have to understand that they have learned rituals, they have learned spiritual guidelines, they have learned what Christianity looks like, what Muslim looks like, what Buddhism looks like, what all the different religions and races look like, what they do in different tribes, what they do in different cities, what they do in different continents, what they do in different countries. And they started to add that up and started to say, okay, well, if they do this in this country, or if they do this in this city or this state, then we should do it too. And Minnesota is different than LA. LA is different than California. California is different than New York. New York is different than New Jersey. New Jersey is different than Chicago. Chicago is different than Michigan. Michigan is different than Ohio. And this is why, because everything has a different culture. Everything has a different trend. Everything has a different setting. So it's like they abroad the settings when you're dealing with different cities, different states. Different cities and different states have different laws and different trends. That's why you see in Minnesota, they're going crazy because they took all of their resources down. Schools are shutting down, stores are shutting down, factories are shutting down. People are going crazy. They're protesting, they're looting, they're marching. Okay, now you see in Ohio, they're getting on buses and they're flipping buses over, burning things down, crashing each other's vehicles. They're going crazy on the internet, saying whatever they want to say. Okay, now you're seeing in Chicago, we got the ice, we have the ice here. So, well, that's what everybody keeps saying, but I think the ice, I don't believe the ice is still here anymore. But the ICE is here. They're capturing people. They're taking people and putting them in their placehold. They're taking people and doing this. The police is circling around the block every 5 seconds. The police, you hear the police sounds, okay? So I'm just here to tell you that yes, it's a time of crisis, it's a time of pestilence, it's a time of, a dark age before, but it's also because of the fact that the white man was never satisfied, never content with his knowledge, never content with himself, never content with the things that he already had. So he has to go in bloodshed. He has to go and start something worse for us, something worse for our nation that we had already made, okay? So, and I'm not talking about we as in right now in this timeline, this culture. Our ancestors came before us, so they can be leaders for us. They can be examples for us. So life can be more easier for us because think about it. When you don't have no direction, you have no instructions, you don't really know what to do in life. You don't know what the next steps is. You don't know what the next course is. You don't know what to do in life. But when you start to actually approach life and say, okay, well, somebody came before me and I know not what to do, okay, I know what not to do, then you will get a little more sense in life, a little more clarity in life, okay. And let me see, they took certain celebrities. Okay, so like they took certain celebrities because making America great again is just making the empire of America look all spectacular and all gems and dazzled up. And really, it's not gems and dazzled up. That's what they show the other countries. That's what they show the other continents. That is gems and dazzled up and it looks pretty. Okay, but you have to actually understand this. They're taking the indigenous people from all over the world, bringing them to America. Either they're going to be slaves, either they're going to do something for us, either they're going to make themselves a new lives, either they're going to do, just anything to take them away from their content, take them away from their country. And they're doing that all around the world. They've been doing that forever. And I don't believe it's ever going to stop. They have been doing this before we even realize this, okay? Now I do know that some people come here on their own because they come here to be celebrities, but they really idolize America as this big golden age country. Like we have all the resources here, we have all the food, all the land, all the necessities here. And that's not what the case is looking like, okay? So yes, they did take these people, a lot of kids, a lot of children, a lot of men. They took these people and they were like, okay, well, you can be a celebrity now. You can be an experiment now. You can be whatever they want to call it, you know what I'm saying? And they did this because they want America to have all digits land. They want to learn you. They want to know what you're about, okay? And the only way to know you and know what you're about is to actually understand what you've been through, okay? Who you are, okay, in your tribe, who you are in your community, who you are as a human, okay? Now, of course, like I said, and of course in Noah's time, there was a flood. Everybody knew the flood was coming. Nobody could properly get prepared, but the people who actually listened to the messenger, okay? The people who actually listen to the prophet is the people that's going to get saved. So, like again, like I said in all the videos, America is just shutting down by itself. It's going to shut down naturally. And the only people that's going to be saved is the people that actually took heed of the prophet's messages, of the warnings, of the signs. That's it. And that's pretty much all I gotta say. Now the road, they have released us from the oppression form of being us, knocking us out. So they have released us from the oppression form of being us, knocking us out. But they haven't released us from being free, letting us go back to where we came from. And I'm not talking about Africa. I'm talking about around the world, letting us travel and just live there. Have you ever lived in Japan? Have you ever lived in Africa? Have you ever lived in any of these places? No, because they make it seem so scary. They make it seem so bad. They make it seem like they got it worse over there. You have the best life over here. And it's actually attacking us from living with our nations, living with our families, living with our communities. A lot of people don't even know that they're mixed because they never did a DNA test. You might have Indian blood in you, you might have white blood in you, you might have some European blood in you, you might have all different type of roots in you, but you'll never know because ain't nobody gonna tell you. You have to go get a test by yourself. You have to go get a blood test, a DNA sample for yourself to actually know what you're a part of. And this is all your home. This is all your family. This is all your community. Okay? So that's another thing to think about. And I was talking about Mr. Freeman. He is so okay. Mr. Freeman is actually on TikTok, but I think it was one of those characters or not animated, but animated characters that used to pop up on TV, and now they show him on TikTok. So he is really good at explaining certain things about money and certain things about the crisis and issues. Okay, and like I said, the last thing that I said is the enemy is trying to fool us. All the things that's been commercialized is just so they can push more money out. Okay, so they can push America out. They have to commercialize it. They have to put it on the app. They have to put it on the advertisement. What you need to understand is that they are at war with themselves. You do not need to go buy every single trend. You do not need to go and get every single shoe, every single thing that you see. Every single thing that you see, you do not need. Stop being greedy. Stop being wanting. Okay? Stop being that way. Because America is shutting down by itself. If you want to be a part of the shutdown, then you can go ahead and keep supporting it. You can go ahead and keep abiding by it. You can go ahead and keep on living the life that you live. And it's cool because nobody's going to stop you. But if you really want to actually prepare yourself, then you need to take signs of the times, okay? Read your Bible, read your Torah, read your Quran, and this is how, like I said in the beginning, this is how the Caucasian man trapped us into a false reality by studying us, by tricking us, by showing us that this world is better. This land is better than every other land, every other culture. And that's why we're all here. But as always, go ahead and like, subscribe, share, and comment. And I will see you in the next video. Good morning, good evening, and good night.